Hey guys, it's Andrew Murdoch and this is Blue Collar and Rich. Today I'm going to give you guys a book review. I'm going to talk about Eben Pagan's book, Opportunity. I just finished it recently. It was fantastic, totally blew me away. Definitely gave me a new perspective on a few things and I wanted to share that with you all. So a quick introduction on Eben Pagan if you're not familiar with him already. I promise you, get familiar with him. You're going to be glad that you did. Eben Pagan is a successful entrepreneur and investor who has built 10 different online brands and businesses to the $1 million level. He just came out with this brand new book called Opportunity and I'm super excited to dive right into things. So here is 17 things I learned about Eben Pagan's book Opportunity. Number 1. Focusing on learning skills and knowledge that are future-proof. This probably goes without saying, right? It's a bit self-explanatory, but it will pay off for you in the long run. You don't see many elevator operators around anymore, do ya? Number 2, he recommends watching for people who have a growth mindset and add more of them to your social network. They will help create a growth mindset culture around which pulls you even higher and faster. Your social influences tend to become your destiny, so it's vital that you intentionally surround yourself with role models for your future self. Fortunately, there are increasing communities and teachers who are evolutionary in their thinking and teaching. You can find workshops, retreats, masterminds, and learning programs in many different domains that have this paradigm infused in them. Number 3, as you study different personality models, you start to realize just how unique your personality is, and you start seeing more clearly which aspects of reality are obvious to you that aren't to other people. Number 4, the biggest opportunities will require you to be at the edge of your comfort zone and at the edge of comfort zones of potentially a lot of other people as well. He says that the edge is where opportunity lives. Number 5, he uses an example of walking into a grocery store that's full of groceries. You wouldn't want to go into the store and take home all the groceries, just like you wouldn't want to look at all the opportunities and go home with all of them. In fact, there's so much that you can only hope to leave with a tiny fraction of what's there. More choices actually creates less happiness and produces a paralyzing effect. As the floodgates of opportunity open up in your life, be prepared for overwhelm, distraction, and what he calls opportunity shock, the feeling of immobilization that comes from facing too much of a good thing. Our problem in the near future won't be about finding opportunity, but trying to figure out how to deal with the incredible and overwhelming abundance of it. The opportunity explosion is releasing many levels of shockwaves already, like the emergence of technologies of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, robotics, synthetic biology, smart sensors, and even distributed ledger technology like Hashgraph. Also, a mind can only hold a few pieces of data at once. This is why most of the opportunities available in any given moment are invisible. He explains how an opportunity is created in an instant where there was none a moment before. Number 6, how is luck related to success? Researchers did a fascinating experiment. They asked people to read a newspaper and count the number of photographs inside. People described themselves as unlucky took 2 minutes to count all the photos. People who described themselves as lucky came up with the answer in a few seconds. Now, how could this be? On the second page of the newspaper, there was a big advertisement with the headline that said, "Stop counting. There are 43 photographs in this newspaper." It was deliberately designed and camouflaged to look like an ad. The unlucky people didn't see it. Richard Wiseman, the psychologist who was doing this research, said, "Unlucky people miss opportunities because they are too focused on looking for something else. They go to parties intent on finding their perfect partner, and so miss opportunities to make good friends. They look through the newspaper determined to find certain job advertisements and, as a result, miss other types of jobs. Lucky people are more relaxed and open, and therefore see what is there, rather than just what they are looking for." Number 7. Most people become confused, fearful, and conservative when things start changing rapidly, because they haven't been anticipating, preparing, and mentally rehearsing for cycles of change. They become disorientated. Now let's talk about your emotions. How can I avoid sadness and anger and create more happiness, joy, and fulfillment? What about your mind? How can you avoid boredom and create more learning, growth, and meaning in your life? What about your environment? How can I avoid failure and create success in surroundings that inspire me? And how about your relationships? How can I avoid rejection and building loving and collaborative relationships with friends, family, and business partners? How about making a contribution? How can I end suffering and create success and love for all people and all life? Number 8, masterminds. Now, there's 6 important aspects of masterminds. He goes into deep detail with each aspect, and I'm going to quickly review all of them for you now. Group of people. This is key. There's something about that our natural imitative learning function that is highly influenced when we are observing another person who is a living example of what we are trying to learn or develop within ourselves. It's a kind of tribal wiring. This effect is so powerful that we must be very careful who we expose ourselves to, as other people influence everything from our self-image and self-esteem to our model of how the world works to our beliefs about reality itself. If we were in the presence of someone with a negative self-image, these will imprint upon our psyches without conscious effort or even awareness in most cases. When you then put yourself into a group of people who all share particular ideas and values, it creates an exponential multiplication effect of influence that is essentially irresistible. Social psychology has shown that a group of people can influence an individual to do things that are completely against what the individual would have done if they were alone. When you use this knowledge intentionally and you assemble a group of people that is consciously designed to influence you in a direct way, this knowledge becomes profound. Key to the mastermind is a group of people. That's the first aspect. High achievers. Because we are influenced so directly and powerfully by others and by groups, we want to intentionally select people who will be the most positive influence on us and our direction in life. He says one way to identify people who will perform well in the future is to look at how they performed in different situations in the past. When forming a mastermind, look for those who have consistently achieved success in their lives in domains that you admire. Ideally, the people you select will have already achieved success in the domain that you want to achieve success in yourself. By intentionally selecting high achievers for your mastermind group, you stack the odds dramatically in your favor and in the group's favor. That's the second aspect. Meeting regularly. As your group begins to form, you will notice that a sort of collective intelligence begins to emerge. The more the group can work together, the more this becomes obvious to everyone involved. And in this is what's meant by the word mastermind. It's like taking a bunch of minds and plugging them into a network and using them as building blocks to create something on a higher order. Meeting regularly is key. He has been in masterminds that meet weekly, quarterly, and some that meet 6 and 12 months. In his experience, if you were to meet more often, you would benefit more. Whatever you do, make sure to meet regularly with your mastermind because the value and quality of what happens goes up in each successive meeting. That's the third aspect. Sharing and supporting. The spirit of your mastermind is one of contribution and support. You will likely get more than you give. But the trick to being true is willingness to give to others and the group. Because of the direct influential power of the mastermind, as soon as this process of giving begins, it turns into a cycle and it influences everyone to give. Supportive environments benefit everyone on multiple levels. They increase happiness from the social interaction, a sense of well-being, and they increase inspiration. That's the fourth aspect. Working purposefully. A mastermind is more powerful if it has a purpose. Just like an individual becomes more focused when they have a purpose, the group becomes more focused as well. If you have a mastermind meeting and you just hang around and talk, you might enjoy it, but you'll only generate a fraction of the value that you could have if it was with a purpose. You can have a tactical purpose, and you can also have a strategic purpose. You can take turns sharing a challenge or an opportunity that you have. The rest of the group will then take 30 or 45 minutes giving that person specific feedback and advice to help them. This is more of a tactical purpose. That's the fifth aspect, collaborating. Collaboration is built on the recognition that each of us brings unique gifts and individual talents to the group and to the mission. As you work with people who have specific types of genius and you work together in various situations, you begin to discover ways to work in pairs, small groups, and large groups more effectively. Collaboration is special because it implies multiple people who are different, but who are also aligned and synchronized, and who are operating as one entity. When you are collaborating, you are in the domain of 1 + 1 = 3, or even better, 1 + 1 = 11. As your mastermind continues to evolve, you will see these magical moments emerge where the group is acting with one mind and one body. Watch for those moments where something emerges that could not have come from one person alone. The key to collaboration is to find people who have different types of intelligence and skills, and then to figure out how to work together as a team and how to turn differences into complementary pairs and combinations. Remember when you meet someone who sees the world in a different way, that they might make a great collaboration partner. That's the sixth and final aspect. Organizing a mastermind is organizing a group mind. It's setting up the conditions so that a collaborative higher intelligence can appear. When that happens, windows of opportunity open in higher dimensions for each of the members in the group. The mastermind represents concentrated transformational energy and concentrated opportunity generation potential. Eben suggests that each of us should be a member of at least one mastermind at all times. It's the fastest and highest leverage way to transform yourself and your success that he knows of. And I found something interesting with this book. He certainly spent a lot more time going into deep detail about masterminds than any other subject. I think that's an important concept to understand, that masterminds are an effective tool to help you achieve your goals that much quicker. Number 9, taking personal responsibility comes down to saying, I am in this situation largely because of the decisions, choices, thoughts, beliefs, relationships, actions that I have had, made, and taken in the past. I choose to assume responsibility for where I go and end up in the future and what my life and lifestyle has become. Number 10, return on experience. This is another one that he harps on a lot in the book, and I can tell he was going a little bit more in detail in this one. He thinks that this model is going to become far more important as we move into the great acceleration over the coming years. The idea here is this: we can't afford to have experiences that we don't learn from anymore. Things are changing too quickly, and wasting time doing things that we don't learn from is putting us behind. If you are having an experience that you aren't learning from, you have 2 basic choices. Number 1, do something else that you do learn from. Or number 2, do the thing you are doing in such a way that you will learn from it. What you learn from an experience is at least as important as the experience itself. These lessons, when imprinted as conscious reference experiences and models, become the building blocks of development and innovation in future situations. When he is evaluating an opportunity, he asks himself, will pursuing this opportunity grow me as a person, build valuable relationships, and teach me skills that will become more and more useful in my future? As you seriously evaluate opportunities in your life, estimate the return on experience. Choose those opportunities you'll learn the most from, which will teach you skills, models, and abilities that will become more value in the future. Dr. David Kolb from Harvard wrote a fascinating book titled Experiential Learning. Part of the idea is that real, true, deep learning is a result of having experiences, getting feedback, and integrating that feedback into your process. When you actually see, feel, and experience how something works, you learn in a completely different way from reading about it or having it explained to you. For those of you who've looked at my videos in the past, or maybe you've seen this content somewhere else, there is something called a learning triangle. And there was a study done years ago where they were able to determine that 2 weeks after you read a book, you've only actually retained 10% of the knowledge that you read in that book. Whereas if you were participating in a game or an activity, your retention actually shot up all the way to 90%. This process of me making this video for all of you right now is actually increasing the amount of knowledge that I'm going to internalize, because now I'm actively learning it and digesting it and teaching it to all of you. Number 11. After 15 years of making investments, if he had to do it all over again, he would have made half as many investments. He would have held on to the cash and waited for better opportunities to come along. He would have waited years in some cases. He says, even if you have to figure out a way to hide money from yourself, do it. Save up your capital and wait for those great investments. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger often mention that it's not just the waiting, but it's also the courage and the nerve to make a decision and commit when you see the right opportunity. This combination of patience plus action when you discover the right opportunity is a winning long-term strategy. Another benefit to this approach is that it encourages study and research. It incentivizes you to really understand the investments that you are looking at. Warren Buffett recommends not to invest in things that you don't understand. Number 12. He uses these 3 specific checks to help evaluate the different opportunities he's looking at. First is the instinctive check. This is checking in with your gut. Make sure you are in a calm and relaxed environment. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel down into your stomach and into the core of your body. Does this opportunity feel right? If so, your body will expand in response to the question rather than contract. There are an estimated 100 million brain cells in the gut, and many believe this provides us with a gut sense that most of us have. By checking with your gut, you check in with an ancient sense of personal wisdom. Integrity check. This is a check that makes sure the opportunity is aligned with the rest of your core values. He defines personal integrity as the alignment of thought, feeling, and action. Ask yourself, does this opportunity align with my life, my values, and how I want to feel? The real implications of most opportunities don't reveal themselves until you're deep into a project. Search your intuition to ensure your values are in alignment with the opportunity you are considering. Higher self check. Each of us has a latent higher self, a conscience, or something like a super ego. Just try imagining a more actualized future version of yourself. Move your perspective and identity to that place. Once you are in touch with that aspect of yourself, ask from there, does this opportunity support my highest self and the values that I stand for? Number 13, time is money. This is a section I'm very familiar with. One thing he realized was that if he was buying a guitar for $100 and was able to negotiate $20 off the price in that last few minutes, that he was effectively making hundreds of dollars per hour during that little window. If it took him 5 extra minutes to save $20, he was making $4 per minute, which is $240 per hour. At that time, he was earning in the range of around $6 an hour at his job. So saving $20 was like getting back over 3 hours of his time for free. If he could save $100, it was like getting back a couple days of his life. He eventually developed a little system and script that he would use when buying things. Here are 3 questions that he would use. How flexible are you on your price? This indicated that he was interested, but also that he was going to negotiate. It is an open question, and often a seller would say something like, I'm pretty flexible and I'll make you a good deal, or something similar. If this happened, he might know to offer even less than what he was first thinking. If the answer was not very flexible, I think this is worth it and I'm pretty firm on my price, he would continue with asking, what's your best price right now? This would send the message that he's serious and ready to buy now. We're talking about money and getting to specifics. Again, if they suggested that in some way they would accept a price that was lower than what he had already decided to pay, he would often offer even less to see if he could get a better bargain. If they said, I'd take $50 for those speakers if you want them, then I might say, would you take $25? Sometimes a seller would just want to get rid of something and they would almost give it away. But let's say that the owner of the speakers looked at them and said, I'm asking $200 and the lowest I would go is $150. Then he was ready for Eben's final offer. Eben would then take out $100 in cash, fan it out so that they could see that it was a real $100, hold it out and then say to them, would you take $100 cash? There's something about having the money right in front of you that is very persuasive. And many times a person selling an old pair of speakers that they didn't really care about would take the money and say, you have a deal. It's useful to mention that if you're about to initiate a transaction, make an offer or negotiate a deal, get yourself to a point mentally and emotionally where you don't need the thing that you are acting to get. Number 14. In his legendary book, The Innovator's Dilemma, Clayton Christensen theorizes that much innovation in business is what he calls disruptive innovation. The innovation of the automobile was disruptive to the horse-drawn carriage industry. Digital cameras disrupted traditional film technology. Wikipedia disrupted the traditional encyclopedia model. Uber disrupted the taxi cab model. In their book, Positioning, Al Ries and Jack Trout point out the new product and service categories are almost always created by outsiders, and very rarely are they produced by established companies. IBM dominated the computer business, and they were perfectly positioned to win the software game. Bill Gates won with Microsoft. Microsoft was perfectly positioned to win the search engine game. Larry Page and Sergey Brin won with Google in the 2000s. Google was perfectly positioned to win the social networking game. Mark Zuckerberg won with Facebook. The new entrants beat out established players in emerging categories so consistently that it's worth closely considering what's going on. Number 15. Eben is fascinated with people who call themselves futurists, and with those that are just great at seeing what's going to happen, whatever they call themselves. One of the brilliant ones is Peter Schwartz. He wrote a book titled The Art of the Long View. A domain that he has been studying for several years is futurism. There are brilliant futurists who have been working on predictive and creative models of the future for decades, and you can learn these models and approaches in a few hours by reading their books or watching their videos. Some of Eben's and my favorites are Ray Kurzweil, Daniel Burrows, Joel Barker, Peter Diamandis, John Naisbitt, and Alvin Toffler. Their models and mindsets are priceless when it comes to learning how to see how the future will unfold. Actually, I want to take a quick segue here because I was watching Peter Diamandis on YouTube recently, and he said something that I thought was profound. He says this: we are not living in a world that is local and linear. We are living in a world that is exponential and global. Things are not changing every 1,000 or 100 years. Things are changing every year, and sometimes it's every month. Things that affect us are no longer just in our tribe or village. It's literally everything around the world. And something else that he said that I'm sure we've all heard before, or most of us heard before, is the only constant is change, and the rate of change is accelerating. These are important concepts, and one of the reasons why I wanted to read the book and create this video for all of you. Number 16. The things that he can project about his future are: it will involve learning new skills and ideas. It will involve creating valuable products and services. It will involve sales and marketing to get customers. It will involve knowledge and education. Now, with that in mind, it's important to be having experiences that help you learn the key skills associated with each of these areas so that you can quickly adapt to your new roles and environments, learn and understand how value is produced for others in your new role, and that you're able to financially and personally benefit from what you're doing. Peter Drucker coined the terms knowledge work and knowledge worker to describe people that primarily work with their minds rather than their hands. And now most of the people who work in first world countries are knowledge workers and are paid primarily for what they do in their minds, not what they do with their hands. I think this is an important observation for blue-collar working class people. We could define an information business as any business model that offers as its main product or information knowledge or learning. Examples of this can include writing a book like an ebook, doing seminars or webinars, coaching and consulting, creating an online course, producing a digital product, doing a podcast, making a news site or service, writing a blog, building a research business, masterminds, membership sites, interview series, and social media. Anyone watching this video has the ability to do one of these online businesses. If you're a plumber, you have the ability to create a plumbing YouTube channel, and that would provide a ton of value to a lot of people. Finally, number 17. Each of us receive the greatest opportunity of all from our parents and from our planet, to be alive. Let's pass on the gift of life and evolution. Let's work together to reduce suffering. Let's join together and contribute to the actualization of fellow beings. This may be our greatest collective opportunity. As you can all see, Eben Pagan is a very positive and influential person. I hope this short 17 insight list that I made about his book brought you some value, but if you're still watching this video, I think you deserve some extra bonus material. It's also important to know in advance that opportunity doesn't exactly hide out in plain sight. We have to do particular things, develop particular relationships, acquire particular knowledge, have particular experiences, feel particular things, think in particular ways to unlock the vaults of abundant opportunity. One reason people play the lottery or gamble in casinos or the stock market is because we gravitate to places where we can potentially receive a big reward without having to do the normal amount of work to get it. But as you probably know, playing the lottery, gambling in casinos, and playing the stock market are inherently losing propositions in the long run. Most people who gamble lose their money, but it's worth it to them because every once in a while someone wins a lot of money without having to do any work, and even the possibility of having this happen is enough to make gambling irresistible. But if you think about it, you'll see that it's not just the potential of getting something for nothing that's so alluring. It's also the potential of getting something without having to change, without having to learn something new, without having to think in new ways, and without having to get outside of your comfort zone. Playing the lottery and gambling are not real opportunities for most people. They are traps, but they are too alluring for most to escape the temptation. They possess the minds of the people who become addicted to them and take not only their money, but their self-esteem, their lives, and their spirits. Opportunity is throwing yourself out into the world, leaping off the edge, embracing a new vision of reality, and exploring a new identity. It's going out to mingle with new people and new cultures and who have new ideas. It's putting yourself in situations where you must adapt or fail. It's setting up circumstances that bring out the creative innovator in you. It takes courage to try new things, to put yourself out there, to allow your thinking to be changed by the process of experimentation and to become someone new. Sometimes it's incredibly hard, but that's the way to find your greatest opportunities in life. Use these mindsets, models, and methods to light the hidden path of opportunity that lays before you. Opportunity is the consequence of change. Since change and evolution are accelerating in all areas, your future is inevitably filled with opportunities waiting to be discovered. Two phrases you've probably heard before are, "The only constant is change," and "expect the unexpected." These are useful affirmations and reminders to keep one eye looking inside the box and one eye looking outside the box. And it's the one thing to face dramatic change in one area of your life. But what about dramatic change in multiple areas of your life simultaneously? Each of us is now going through transition and transformation in some domain, essentially all the time. It might be a career change or moving to a new location, a relationship or family change, a personal evolution, or a spiritual transformation. It might be on an individual level or as part of a communal group going through a major shift. Change might be occurring on the inside or on the outside. It might be a physical transition, an emotional change, or a mental shift. This is an excellent reference point to use to get a sense of what's coming. Because in the future, the change we notice today is nothing compared to what's coming. Whatever you're doing, no matter how tried and true and not broken it is, you're going to see it changing faster and faster right before your eyes. This is going to create stress in your life, but can also create massive opportunity if you're prepared for it. We aren't surprised when we hear that machines are replacing farming equipment, but it gets our attention when we read about a machine comprehending spoken English better than us, or writing a computer program better than us. And these are just the beginning. The internet is the most important catalyst for the current opportunity acceleration. It has given us not just new ways to communicate with each other, but new product and service types. Eben believes that the key to surfing the forthcoming tsunami of opportunity is evolving a new sense, a new kind of vision, a new type of thinking and understanding. And that new sense is called entrepreneurship. Just like animals with sight have a huge advantage over animals that can't see, those of us who have entrepreneurial vision will have a magnifying advantage over those who don't. Entrepreneurs are masters of opportunity. Until now, most people have thought of entrepreneurs as business people and those who take risks, but that is also changing. We are starting to realize that the skills entrepreneurs have mastered are transferable to other important domains of life. Entrepreneurship is in a transition right now from being a subculture to being mainstream. Everyone is starting to realize that in order to succeed in the future, they're going to need to learn these skills. We're all waking up and realizing that in order to become financial adults, that we're going to have to learn how to go out and create success for ourselves. As more uncertainty and fears spread through the masses, we're seeing that those who understand how to create success in any situation are actually thriving. It's a better environment for these people. Entrepreneurial skills have become the new form of literacy. You and I are walking into the fastest, greatest explosion of opportunity in history. And we need a new set of skills and courageous vision in order to see it, surf it, and create with it. Let's map this new train together. I hope all of you enjoyed my review and summary of Eben Pagan's book, Opportunity. If you like this video and you want more videos, smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content, and have a great day.